in excelsis Deo. Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous strains prolong? What the glad tidings be, which inspire your heavenly song? Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Come to Bethlehem and see him whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. See him in a manger laid, whom the choirs of angels praise. Mary, Joseph, lend your aid, while our hearts in love we raise. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. The first Noel, the angels did say, was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay, in fields where they lay keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, Noel, Noel,
Good morning. Good morning. You can keep it, David. Welcome to all of you here and to those of you that are online with us. What a beautiful day, huh? Yeah, it's the sun shining. Yay! Well, my name is Susan, and I'll be assisting on the platform today. Today's a pretty exciting day. We celebrate the burning bowl ceremony. So our service is going to be a little bit different, but as always, we begin our service with the lighting of the Christ candle. This Christ candle represents the spark of divinity that's in all of us, the Christ. This is the last Sunday we'll be focused on Unity Worldwide Ministries' theme of staying centered no matter what. The power of this month is life. Our affirmation statement for the month of December is, life is the infinite empowerment of God. Eternal life is happening now. Would you like to say that? Life is the infinite empowerment of God, and eternal life is happening now. Do we have any children here today? No? Okay. Well, I'm happy to say that we want to still do the blessing? How about to each other? You want to stand? Okay. Ready? We love you. We appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. We love you just the way you are. Yes, indeedy. We see the Christ in all of you. Okay. In the unity philosophy, we choose to participate fully in the circulation and blessing of God's abundance by giving generously and receiving gratefully. We see God's good wherever we look, and we are prosperous. There are baskets in the back of this sanctuary. You can contribute on your way out. There's also a website, unityoffortwayne.org. You can go there and contribute. And if you're new to this service and would like to receive information about us through email, you could fill out this card and put that in the basket too. Okay, so take your offering in your hand, or if you send online, visualize it. And together we will say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. We are joy-filled and grateful. Do you want to say that a little louder? Like you mean it? All right. We are joy-filled and grateful. Yes, we are. Wonderful. We have a basket in the back that you can write what you're grateful for. I'm going to go pick it up and pick up 3. Interesting, I went to go pick it up before the service, and then I thought, well, maybe somebody might want, hear a new face to me. Would you pick one out? Thank you. All right. And President of our board, would you pick out one? Okay. All right. So here are the three we picked at random. I'm grateful for a warm home. Aren't we all? Yes. I'm grateful for the magic of modern day medicine. Yes, that's good. And lastly, I'm grateful for a new year and all the adventures it will bring. Woohoo, I like that one. Yes, okay. Well, now we're going to have the announcements, and then we'll go into the sacred part of our service. So, announcement 1, December 30th is the last day of your floor donations to be matched by our anonymous donor. Please prayerfully consider helping us with this last push. This Wednesday and next Wednesday, our own Bob Salarzo will be back with a guided meditation. So it's Wednesday evening, right in this room at 6:30. And next week is our White Stone ceremony. You will want to attend. The White Stone fills up what you're going to let go today, so it's just wonderful. The date for our annual membership meeting will be announced soon. In addition to the discussion about a minister search, we will have an open seat on the Board of Trustees. If you've been a member for at least 1 year, please consider self-nominating. Or if you want to nominate another eligible member, please contact one of the current board members. 2 of them are sitting back there, and one's right over here. She's waving. We are excited about several new initiatives coming in 2022, so stay tuned. Got lots of great stuff ahead of us here. Okay. So as you know, Unity of Fort Wayne is a part of a worldwide ministry that's based on the power of prayer, the power of our thoughts to create our own reality. This morning, we will affirm the healing love and the life of God within ourselves. I'm going to take a second here so we all can send energy and love to bless Bishop Desmond Tutu as he made his transition last night. So he's on his spiritual journey, and as many of us are on our healing journey. Here's a prayer that I selected that we could give it some thought here. All love is an expression of divine love. Love isn't generally solely from within us, but instead flows through us from a higher source, that Christ within. That makes love inexhaustible. We live in an ocean of love that is God. Love that emanates us, through us, and enfolds us. We are conduits for the divine, expressing God as love. Particularly at this Christmas time, I was thinking how the Christ within us is always there, but we can let it be birthed at this, particularly at this time of the year. Please look at the names that are on the screen and know that these are our friends that have called and asked for prayer. So as we hold them in prayer, we think of those around the world, hold them in prayer and in our own community. Now please whisper the names of those special people in your life whom you wish to include in this special time of prayer and contemplation. Thank you. May all be well. So it is. Now's the time for our daily word.
Today's reading is from Faith. My inner light grows brighter through faith. Pulling back a curtain in a dark room will drive the darkness out and flood the space with light. I remember this at those times when my life feels dark. I have the power to live from faith, which brings me out of spiritual darkness. Faith helps me believe that even when I can't see it, the light of God is always shining. Little by little, my awareness of God grows increasingly brighter, and I perceive the divine everywhere. I am a spiritual being inseparable from God. I place my faith in this truth and drive out the darkness of fear and doubt that may have caused me to shrink from the fullness of life. Shining my light in the world, I inspire those around me to grow brighter with faith. John 12:46, I have come as light into the world, so that everyone who believes in me should not remain in the darkness. Reproduced with the permission of Unity, publisher of the Daily Word, and the website dailyword.com.
Thank you, Bonnie. Good morning. When the Beatles were on the verge of breaking up, Paul McCartney was understandably distraught. The greatest musical group of all time was to be no more. During this time of confusion and angst, Paul had a dream in which his mother, whose name was Mary, appeared to him to tell him everything would be all right. And as a result of that dream, he wrote one of the most popular songs in his career.
When I find myself in times of trouble,
There's so much energy.
Try again. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. In my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
broken-hearted people living in a world of grief. There will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. And I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, just let it be. There will be an answer, let it be.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Lois. As students of Unity, we know there is always an aspect of ourselves whispering to us. Let it be. When we are angry, upset, anxious, fearful, we know there's a higher vibration and a higher consciousness, an inner voice, a knowing that tells us, let it be. But in our humanity, we sometimes get stuck in our ego, in our victim mode, in the audio loop of old tapes that we may be playing as far back as our childhood. If you're as old as I am, it's playing back on an 8-track. Maybe for some of you, it's a CD, no, cassette first, and then CD. And you young whippersnappers out there probably listening to it on an MP3 file. However you're hearing it, when that is consuming us, it's hard for us to hear that small voice. So we get to the point where we may become so sensitive that we can't even walk through this world without feeling injured at every intersection. Someone said this, someone else did that. An acquaintance passes us by in the hallway and says good morning, and we go, wonder what she meant by that. So, as spiritual practitioners, what do we do when we recognize that our personal practice falls short of supporting us and in letting things go and letting it be? We engage in sacred ritual. And to make it even more powerful, we engage in sacred ritual with others. We turn to opportunities for shared spiritual experiences. So this time of year in New Thought churches all over the world, we create such an opportunity. We turn down the volume in our minds. We create a sacred space dedicated to release and to healing. When we join with others in this endeavor, something really special happens. It's not each of us individual calling in the faith, the hope, the light, the power, the wisdom, the guidance, but in community, through our collective higher selves, in our vibrancy, in our collective magnificence and awesomeness. Our power is increased exponentially, and we are co-creating the space for transformation and healing. Matthew chapter 18, verse 12 reminds us, "For wherever two or more are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them." So working in concert with the power of Source, we are creating a space for ourselves and each of us in our unity community. You here today, and those who may be watching from home, and even those who are with us in spirit form. We are here at the Burning Bowl service by divine appointment, and we are immersed in the presence of pure love, and we are going to experience something wonderful today. Every positive change in our lives begins with a clear, unequivocal decision that we are either going to stop doing something or start doing something. I get the agreement from Mr. Hackett. We're either going to stop doing something or start doing something. Next week, we'll experience another popular unity ritual, the White Stone Ceremony. And during that service, we're going to decide what we want to start doing or being or who we want to become. Today, we're going to decide what we want to stop doing. So I think I've asked this question before. How many here are good decision makers? Who can't decide? That's what I thought. If you're thinking, gee, I don't know, I can't decide what I want to release. There's a lot of things. If, like me, your decision-making skills sometimes resembles that of a squirrel who's trying to cross the street, it doesn't matter. What's so great about this ritual is that we don't have to try hard to figure anything out. There's no special technique or skill required. We don't have to understand the process or figure out how any bad magumbo that's currently weighing us down will be resolved. Some of you may be familiar with the speaker or writer Alan Watts. He was an English writer, and he was well known for interpreting Eastern philosophies like Buddhism and Taoism for the Western world. He wrote a great metaphor that may be helpful for us today. When a cat falls out of a tree, he makes himself completely relaxed, and he lands lightly on all 4 feet. But if as the cat began to fall, he suddenly decided he didn't want to fall, he would tense up and become rigid, and no doubt break some bones upon landing. In the philosophy of the Tao, we are always falling out of the tree every single day of our lives. Instead of living in a state of chronic tension where we're trying to grasp onto things as we are falling, it would be much healthier for us if we just relaxed like our feline friends. All we need to do is to be open, listen, and then be willing to let go. And the universe takes care of the rest. Eckhart Tolle asks, what could be more futile, more insane, than to create inner resistance to something that already is. And sometimes that something we are resisting is the same something we've been faced with over and over, right? I'm thinking the universe puts us in the same situations over and over again to see if we're still a dumb assembly of carbon atoms. It took me a while to come up with that one. So we're here to release old habits, old patterns of thinking, negative and limiting thoughts, and beliefs that no longer serve us. Our souls are really meant to feel spacious and to feel a sense of openness and expansion, to feel an aliveness of spirit. And so to make that space, we have to remove some crap. My husband reminds me of this when I buy new clothes. He seems to think my closet's already full. So, what are some options that any of us could release to make room for all the awesomeness that's waiting to manifest through us? Some common conditions to consider or to release may be the need to control. Maybe the need to be right. Did it go? Oh. Whoops. Wait a second. Is it going? There we go. Might want to give up the need to be right. Or how about our tendency to judge? All are great options to choose to release today. But I'd like to add another one, and one that has made perhaps the most difference in my life. And I think maybe the most powerful tool that we have in our spiritual toolkit is the choice, notice I said choice, to forgive. And we can all recite great quotes in support of that awareness. My favorite one is, refusing to forgive is like taking poison and waiting for the other person to die. I am a student of forgiveness, not a master. So when I was preparing for this lesson, I researched many sources for thoughts on the topic of forgiveness, and I found this from A Course in Miracles. All disease comes from a state of unforgiveness. I thought about this for a long time, and it reminded me of one of my favorite books, just happen to have a copy, The 22 Non-Negotiable Laws of Wellness by Greg Anderson. The author was given just 30 days to live after a cancer diagnosis. His personal story made this book a bestseller. Greg was high-powered, highly successful, middle-aged corporate man. His life and work were going very well until a new controller came to work for his company. And suddenly, the autonomy he had enjoyed was gone. Every dime spent by Greg's division was scrutinized and questioned. He saw this intruder as a huge threat to both his position and his ego. He began to attack his colleague at every opportunity. He became critical of his plans, policies being implemented, and he bucked at everything this new guy tried to do. Greg believed he was always right, so, of course, the controller was always wrong. What he didn't expect was for the controller to counterattack. His enemy told supervisors how Greg was resistant to implement more cost-effective practices. And the battle between the two men became a company-wide problem that began to affect the working environment for everyone. It came to a head one day at a meeting with all the top executives. The controller passed around a budget update. Greg, trying to be dismissive, took his copy and threw it across the table, where it hit the coffee mug of the CEO and spilled his hot coffee down the boss's lap. The CEO pointed to the door and ordered Greg to leave. That was the first time Greg realized how immature and ridiculous his behavior had been. Greg estimated that the controller was hired only 3 months before his cancer diagnosis, and he believes that there was a link between his toxic behavior and the onset of his illness. He underwent surgery, he had a lung removed, but 4 months later the cancer had spread through his lymph system. That's when he received the 30-day to live notice. From his sickbed, Greg began reading all he could about wellness, and that's when he first considered the power of forgiveness. Although he was weak and emaciated, he began his forgiveness work, and he believes it was the precise turning point in his illness. He made a list of everyone he wanted to forgive and created a specific ritual for releasing them. And he goes into great detail in the book about that particular process, and I won't go into that today, but I do want to share kind of a crazy twist to the story. Within 30 days of his lung cancer diagnosis, his adversary, the controller, was also diagnosed with prostate cancer. And unfortunately, surgery was not an option for him. So when Greg came to the end of his list of those he needed to forgive, there was one name he knew he needed to add. And for this entry, he knew he needed to make a personal visit. And I have to read you what happened. I have come to say I'm sorry. A long pause to Greg, he said, I am the one who needs to say I'm sorry. I'm old enough to be your father, yet I treated you like the outcast son. Please forgive me. His wife was crying. She knelt on the floor and the three of us embraced. We all cried. Finally, it was my old adversary who found the strength to mutter a prayer. Dear God, forgive us all. Greg became the author of 5 more books and founded the Cancer Conquerors Foundation. So it's a pretty good read, and forgiveness is just one of the many of the 22 non-negotiable laws. But I am still in awe of that story. Forgiveness of others and forgiveness of ourselves is key. We are both the prisoner and the jailer. We hold the key. We have the power here and now to forgive, to let go. We forgive not to let the other person off the hook, of course, but to let ourselves off the hook. And magically and mystically, we receive a new life. Sherry, can we look at the Course in Miracles slide again? One more thing about this slide, because it's kind of a little bit in your face, isn't it? If you don't want to buy into this statement from a biochemical point of view, I like this next one a lot. Our dis-ease comes from a state of unforgiveness. If we're feeling uneasy, ill at ease, in any sort of state of uneasiness. Let's release this toxicity that is preventing us from living our potential. Unity's co-founder Charles Fillmore said, "We must learn to let go, to give up, to make room for things we have prayed for and desired. We simply cannot reach for anything new if our hands are full of yesterday's stuff." So as we begin here now to hone in on what is ours to release, we are going to quiet ourselves and call to mind any people, incidents, conditions that we want to forgive and release. Situations or circumstances, anything we are still arguing with. And remember, this is not a call for condemnation or criticism, it's a call for alignment or realignment. Because our source can't forgive us. For our source is spirit, and it does not know injury, it knows no harm. So to be forgiven, we must forgive. That activity is the universal truth, and it is spiritual law, and it is ours to activate whenever we desire. You should have an envelope, and there's a couple little tidbits in there. One is an index card, on which we will use in a minute, and a piece of flash paper. Does anybody need an envelope? My twin sister's going to help you out there. All right. So again, we know that the first step in learning forgiveness is willingness. If there is any part of us that is not yet willing, we invite in more support, more light, more love, and then let it be. Psalms chapter 51, verse 10, "A clean heart and renew a right spirit within me." Be divinely inspired to have a condition or anything that you are wishing or willing to release is going to come to you. And you're going to put that on this flash paper. If you think you don't have enough room to write everything you want to release, simply hold the paper in your hand and press those thoughts into it. When you have written or infused your flash paper with your denials, you're just going to come forward and drop it in the magic bowl. When everyone is done, I will light the match and we will extinguish them all together. And this action will release the energy and power that you have previously given this condition. You may have come here with certain things in mind, knowing it was a burning bowl ritual today, but the power of this shared experience may engender something bigger than you originally intended, so please stay open to that. Kat, you want to get us in the mood?
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. If you know this, you can sing with me. My mind is willing and my heart is opened wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and true and free as I continue walking in this mystery. For I release any fear that blocks my way. Every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, yet I can choose to take a higher path each day. For now I know what I thought was safe and sound were only habits and regrets that held me down. And I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am kinder every moment, every day. I am more loving every moment, every day. I am surrendered every moment, every day.
Closing your eyes now, if that's comfortable, or simply lower your gaze. The weight of the flash paper is very light. The burdens and challenges you carry in your heart may be heavy. I assure you the paper can carry the weight. Now open your heart to what needs to be revealed and what needs to be healed. Take a deep breath. And on the exhale, let your shoulders fall away from your ears. Breathing deeply. Letting go more completely and more fully with each breath. No resisting, no insisting. Release any and all attachment to what no longer serves you. In your mind's eye, imagine that you are cutting the cords of family feuds, relational discord, the shoulds, the why me's, the why not me's, the what ifs, the disappointments, things said and done, things unsaid and undone. Exhaling fully and letting them go. As we hold the flash paper, these conditions transmit from conscious mind into the paper. What else might we need to release to be fully present to the blessings that are in store for the year ahead? With our hands and hearts filled, there is no capacity to receive all that is available to us. So let it go now. Breathe, release, trust the process. When you're ready, take a breath and whisper into the paper, or write a word or phrase or an idea or a symbol of the burden you are willing to let go. The belief patterns, habits, injuries. Infuse it into the paper. You are safe and supported here. Cat will continue to play, and as you are ready, come up and release your burdens into the burning bowl. Anyone else? Let this moment of release for each of us be quickened by the divine presence. Release, let go, be healed and made whole in an instant, in a flash.
Amen. Feel good? Yes.
Now you got another piece of paper there, don't you? Card. So now you got a lot of room in there. Might be rattling around. So now we're going to affirm and embrace the desires of our hearts. So this card is to list any affirmation or intention or vision of the good we want to see manifest in 2022. You're going to self-address the envelope and place your note of affirmation inside. If you want to think about it a while, you can go, take it home and bring it back if you want to ponder this longer. We will keep them safe and mail them to you later this year. We lay hold of our good by affirming, by making firm patterns of right thinking that will bring the good that we desire into manifestation. We cannot get through the world even one day without making an impact on the world around us. What we do does make a difference. We just have to decide what kind of difference that we want to make. So we don't want to limit our thinking. If 2 points are destined to touch, the universe will always find a way to make that connection, even if it seems impossible, across space, across time, by paths we cannot predict here. Nature always finds a way. So we will pause here in the stillness, letting those righteous desires of your heart, the ones that burn passionately in your belly, the courage that says yes to your greatest and grandest good, a new way of doing, being, thinking, speaking, moving in the world. Let that come to your mind now. And as we return to the stillness of the silence, again, you will commit your desires, your courageous mission onto your card, knowing it is being captured now. And I forget from which Unity minister I learned this, but you might wish at the bottom, write whatever you're affirming, and then at the bottom, you might write, and everything else. So if something comes to mind later, you know it's been captured from divine mind to your heart to the paper. Be open to grand avenues, open doors, and wonderful possibilities. In the silence. So let's affirm together as we hold our letters of intention. Infuse our letters now. We bless our lives and we call forth the good in our lives. We bless the good that is coming to us, and we bless all channels through which that goodness comes. We dedicate our energy and enthusiasm to renewed life, calling forth our highest nature. And as Lowell Fillmore's sign said above his door stoop, we go forth to meet, accept, and express our highest good. And so it is. Seal your envelopes, make sure there's an address on them, and drop them off on the table when you leave. Okay, Sherry, I think our prayer protection is on a slide, I believe. Okay, let's stand and close with prayer for protection, and then some awesome Christmas songs. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Okay.
Sing with us, Joy to the World.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive our King. Let every heart prepare him room.
And heaven and nature sing,
And heaven and nature sing. And heaven, nature sing.
joy
To the world the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ. While fields and floods, rock hills and plain, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy. The world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders